just want to first thank the People's Organization for Progress for their consistency and commitment to struggle and making sure that democracy visits everybody's household and everybody's home. Everything that Larry Ham said, I agree with 100,000%. It's important for us to understand what happened yesterday. The Chief Justice himself disagreed with the rest of the justices. The Chief Justice, Baraka, disagreed. In fact, thought it was possible and necessary for us to have a review board with subpoena power. Unfortunately, he was outvoted and overruled by his colleagues. It's important for us to understand what Larry said, that we need to be organized. We have to be organized. We talk about how other people are organized. We have to be just as organized. We cannot allow our petty differences, our disagreement on 2 or 3 objects to separate and divide us over our overall struggle. It is ahistorical and apolitical for us to move in that direction. We should know history and know politics to understand that we have to always be together. We have to always be together. And before I say anything else, we are appealing this to the federal court. We appealed it the first time, we're going to appeal it again. We're going to appeal it. We also are asking for our Attorney General here in the state of New Jersey to make the pathway easier, to help us change the AG guidelines, to make it necessary, right, and possible for us to have parallel investigations, for it to make it necessary and possible for us to have subpoena power. We want our state legislatures to weigh in, and next week we'll have a law, because we are writing a law now, and we are going to work in concert with our Access delegation and other delegations around here in the state to put a bill before the Senate, before the Assembly, and before the governor that allows every municipality in the state of New Jersey, every single municipality in the state of New Jersey, to organize their own civilian complaint review board with the possibility of subpoena power and investigatory power in this state. We want our legislatures to do that. It is very important in this time period when Black Lives Matter has become a popular thing. So popular that you can watch basketball games and see Black Lives Matter on the court. Maybe months ago they wouldn't even allow you to kneel at a football game. Now they're allowing people to put things on the back of their helmets. You can go to Amazon Prime and online you'll see, if you download something, it'll say Black Lives Matter. But I had the ability to read. And so I read before some of King's speeches when he talked about how easy it was to get allies to fight against Bull Connor and his outright racism in the South, but how difficult it was to get people to march against systemic and endemic racism in Chicago and Newark and places like this, right? Because it was okay for us, it's okay for us to be against people who don't say Black Lives Matter. We just uneasy with abolishing white supremacy. It's important for us to know that racism is not about individual acts of prejudice. It's not about people calling you names. It's not about people disliking you, because if it was about somebody disliking us, we wouldn't even care about that. In fact, you can dislike me all you want because of the color of my skin, the broadness of my nose, the kinkiness of my hair. It is okay. What I believe, who I love, who I pray to, it is not about your dislike. It's about a system that's organized and designed to repress, oppress, demean, and debilitate us. That characterizes us as inhuman, that has a Supreme Court that voted that we are inhuman, that we were in fact property and did not have the right to sue, That we were 3/5 of human beings and could not be counted as a whole human being. That we were in fact property. In fact, we had more protection when we were in fact property. When we were property, we were more protected as slaves because it would lose your property if you killed your slave. But the minute we lost property status, we lost all protective status because we were not human beings, and now we weren't even property. And that's where we are. So it's not just about individual acts of racism. It's about systemic racism that's being upheld by the Supreme Court, that's upheld by the state legislature, that is upheld by the administrative front office if they don't do anything about what's going on here in this city. It's about all of those things, right? And then finally, it's not just history, right? It's not just about past acts. It's not just about what you do tomorrow or yesterday or the day before. History is really about your conscience and your principles colliding with time. So when the right time comes, when that moment shows up, what will your conscience and your values tell you to do at that particular time and that particular moment? And at that decision, you will have an impact on millions of people's lives at that moment in history. And when you fail to act, when you fail to move, when you fail to do anything at that very moment, then you become an enemy of history. You're on the wrong side of history and not on the right side of history. When the moment comes before you, when you say it was terrible that George Floyd was killed by an officer with his knee on his neck, when you're opposed to the death of Ahmaud Arbery, when you say Breonna Taylor needs justice, now when it's your time to deliver, when time meets your conscience, at that moment, what will you do? What will you do when it shows up on your doorstep? When you have the authority, the power, the position to make a decision at that time? What is your values and your conscience telling you to do? What is it begging for you to accomplish? And maybe it's nothing, maybe fear. And you hide behind political jargon and the inconvenience of your position. And you won't do the bold and the broad and the courageous thing to do. You refuse to do that and you put it off on somebody else. You say this is the legislature's job. The legislature say, oh no, it's the Attorney General's job. The Attorney General said, let the courts decide it. And in the meantime, we continue to have a knee on our necks and we die in this country because nobody has the will to act at the right time in history. That's why. And if you think I'm upset, I am. I marched for a police review board. I sat here on these steps when we organized marches for Danette Strawberry Daniels. We held rallies and marched down here frequently. We begged, we fought. Hell, I was arrested in the council meeting for singing songs in the back. You can pull a video if you like. They chained me to the bench in the East District precinct because we were singing, ain't gonna let nobody turn us around. And so when you get the authority and the position and the power to do the things you think you can do, and people believe you can do, there are other forces at work to usurp, to undermine, to destroy what it is you're trying to do. And that's why we need to be organized. And that's why we need to be together. And meanwhile, while we have these petty differences, and we allow the press sometimes to exacerbate those differences, these people are working to keep us all in the same situation that we've been in for the last 50 damn years. So while you think you're doing something hip, something slick, something smart, we all suffering. It's not enough for you to be out here marching when George Floyd, thousands of people marching because they were upset that George Floyd was murdered. Hell, I was upset too. people. When it's time for us to actually get something. It's not enough to be angry. Anger is fleeting. It'll be gone 4 months from now, 5 months from now. It's your ideology, your values, your principles that keep you committed to struggle, not your anger. Not your anger. So we need you. I want to thank everybody. I see Deborah Smith Gregory here from NAACP. I want to thank the local NAACP and everybody else that's here. Newark Anti-Violence Coalition is here as well. Keisha Yuri, Brother Zaid Muhammad. I want to thank NCAT as well. And I want to thank Reverend Roundtree and our Interfaith Alliance, all our Muslim brothers, our Christian brothers, Catholic brothers and sisters, Jewish brothers and sisters that are back here. Listen, that stand with us all the time. Just all the time. So we are grateful that all of us are here, but this is not over.
That's right. It's
not over. We're going to continue pushing, and we're going to continue fighting. And somebody asked me the other day, and I'm going to stop here, say, what gives you the energy to keep doing this stuff every day? Because I believe we're going to win. That's why. We wasn't promised easy, just victory. I believe victory belongs to the righteous. Now we gonna win. I don't care how long it takes, we gonna win. I believe we gonna win, and I'm on the winning team. Don't make no sense to get off the winning team. We gonna win. No matter how long it takes, we gonna win. And I want you to publish it that way. I want you to put it in the paper that way. We gonna win. We gonna win. We gonna win. We gonna win. I'm gonna pass it back to Chairman Larry. Give Mayor Baraka another hand. Give him a big hand. So the Police Review Board was first established through an executive order by the mayor, and then made permanent by an ordinance of the city council.